Hi, I'm David Diebold, and I wanted to read an extract from my book, This Is How We Dance, which is available at all the wonderful places mentioned with this post. This one is called The Very Reluctant Adventurer. I have few mementos of my childhood. Where has all that treasured stuff that was stashed into cupboards gone? Probably a church sale sometime long after I moved out of the family home. Even the photos are few. Isolated snapshots, often fuzzy and faded, awkward family lineups, usually one of us in a sulk, head resting on fists. I don't think of those times much. Our lives have been too busy stashing cupboards full of our own treasured stuff now, snapping our own fuzzy faded memories. Not long ago, however, I came upon a box during one of those clear-outs of the attic, where you drag everything out with good intentions of a ruthless sorting between bin and charity shop, then get distracted by something you find, become utterly absorbed, then realize it's getting dark, so you just stuff everything back where it was again, less organized than ever. This box was collapsing at the corners with age. When I looked inside, it felt like I was falling backwards out of a plane. My heart dipped, then soared. There was a camping knife with a little folding spoon, and wrapped around it a small braided length of fur from the dog we had when I was 12. Remnants of a time I hadn't thought about since Dad's funeral. Now, everything felt as hard and real as this folding metal artifact, heavy in my hand. As real as the still oily length of knotted fur of a pet, 38 years dead. Dad and I had trained for months, slogging through the dark, granite-flecked mud of Wicklow. After this, Dad said, it's the Pyrenees, then Kilimanjaro. We practiced bivouacking and concocted bowls of soupy instant mash, flecked with dead midges and tasting of plastic. There was something deliciously adventurous about unfolding that spoon with a satisfying click and shoveling up the grainy mash as the gas stove puttered between us. Eventually, we took the ferry to Holyhead and the train to a ghastly guest house that smelled of carpets and cabbage. Dad made me lay out the contents of my backpack onto the bed, the clanking pots and packets of desiccated food, plastic plates and mugs. What's this? He said, unfolding a jumper to reveal a bundle of hardback books. You think you'll have time to read? He made me leave them behind. Where we're going, he said, we don't need books. I opened one of them and slipped out the braid of thick dog fur I'd made into a lucky bookmark, and I stuffed it into the pocket in the arm of my Lord Anthony anorak. We share the load, said Dad, packing everything away and heaving his pack on. I put mine on the floor, struggled into the straps, and lay there like an upturned turtle. Dad heaved me up with one hairy aftershave scented arm. The hike was hellish. This is just the start, said Dad. Wait till we get to the real thing. Within minutes, I dropped far behind, sullen about the books, shoulders aching, leather boots reeking of lanolin and biting my heels. This was supposed to be a holiday, I grumbled through tears. I was terrible company, to my shame. Late in the afternoon, Dad gave up and we struck camp as the wind picked up and whistled through guide ropes. Still, he tried to jolly things along. Isn't this great? He kept roaring over the gale. I glowered at him over my folding spoon, crunching on bits of undissolved mash. The gale became much worse in the night, beating our tent with fists, then tearing at it with teeth. I could hear Dad cursing from where my head was buried deep in my sleeping bag. It was the night of the Fastnet yacht race disaster. As our tents came to pieces around us, a huge maritime rescue operation had unfolded off the coast of Ireland. 18 people lost their lives. We struggled out of the ruin of canvas early next day to collect the pots and food sachets spread over the mountainside. On the way back down, it was Dad's turn to be sullen, as I chattered happily, and when we eventually trudged back to the guest house, I retrieved my books. We spent the next 3 days going to the cinema and eating at restaurants. It was one of the best holidays I've ever had. We took the ferry home, hiked the last bit back to the house from the bus with our heavy packs and clomping boots, and at the garden gate, Dad stuffed the remains of our tent into the bin. The adventurers return, said my mother at the door. I could hear our dog yapping at the back. I guess we were pretty lucky, said Dad, but that marked the end of our mountaineering days. There would be no Kilimanjaro.